Looks like I had us on mute. My bad. Welcome back to the show, everyone. We're going to get started here in just a moment to review an incredible game. We've got my man Tommy Her joining the show all the way from South Korea, and we'll have John joining him after, then my man Cody. So if you want to come up and talk about an extremely fun game where the Pistons defeat the Rockets 107-96, please shoot me a DM now and we'll get you up here to talk Pistons hoops. We are also live on Instagram at the moment. So shout out to everyone tuning in from Instagram. Drop a W in the chat. Pistons are back over 500. They just beat the number 2 seed in the West in the Houston Rockets. Cade cooked Jaylen Green. Asar got the W over his brother. So drop W's in the chat. And once again, for those on Instagram, if you missed it, if you want to join, send me a DM and we'll try to get you up here today. But I'm going to bring up my man, Tom. Tom, what's going on?
Hey, what up, though?
Let's go. What a game. You called it. When I messaged you, you said Pistons are going to win.
Mm-hmm. I said it. We're gonna go 5-0 in this road trip.
Let's. I love it. I love it. We're 1-0 so far, man. Just how you feeling, man? Oh, first of all, what's the time for you? It must be like 6:30 in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, 6:30. Yeah, in the morning. I woke up at 4. I was like playing Red Dead Redemption for some time, and then I realized it's almost 12 o'clock. I was like, oh no, I have to go to sleep.
So you're running on like 4 hours sleep.
Yeah, I got some coffee. I just finished it, but yeah.
And what players on the teal jersey? Is that Cade?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
I have I have like 4K jerseys, I think, I believe.
I love it. Any other players? They all just Cade. Oh no, you
No,
have a D Rose jersey.
yeah, I have a D Rose jersey. Yeah, that's it. I don't have any other players' jerseys. I was thinking whether I should get a Jaden Ivey jersey when I was there, but I just went to Kate.
I love it. I love it. Well, we'll talk about him in just a moment. I'm just going to bring up some comments here. White guy next door. Good to have you back, Dan. I haven't seen you in a
W
minute in the
W.
chat. Always good to have you in here, my brother. Austin, big W's. Vulture, W's. There's W's everywhere, man. W's everywhere. Didn't even watch the game, but I'm here for the show. And well, we've got you covered, Vulture. So, Tom, let's
Yep.
talk about that guy behind you and also on your jersey, Cade Cunningham. Just quickly, for those that missed the game, Cade finished with, I think, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 7 or 8 assists. He had 10 turnovers, but we will talk about those. But he had 19 points in the third quarter, and the Pistons needed all 19 of them. Tom, talk to me about your favorite player and what he did tonight in Houston.
That's crazy. It was really crazy because the Houston has really lengthy defenders and athletic ones like Tyrese and Amin Thompson, who was that? Brooks. They were sending everyone at him, but he was just unstoppable. He had 19 points in the third quarter, I believe. He just
Yeah.
missed one shot. He made every single of his free throws. And I love that part when he dunked on everyone and he was like, all on you motherfuckers. That was crazy. That was
Oh,
crazy. He has a psycho in him.
I agree. I think one of the knocks on Cade probably in his first few seasons was he's a little
Mhm.
bit like too chill and
Yeah.
maybe a bit passive. But I think now that he's got a competitive team around him, we've seen how much like winning means to him and how just competitive he is. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I could tell that he really wanted this game. Like he was really going in the first quarter, he was hunting down Jalen Green every matchup and he was dominant. He was scoring every time. And they were like, all right, we can't do this. They called the timeout and they started sending him different looks. And it was really awesome. Like Cade, I think that was just all NBA performance. It was dominance just from him. It was amazing to see. He didn't score in the fourth, but he didn't need to. He was just really good, except for the 10 turnovers and that you mentioned
Yeah.
in the second
Uh,
quarter, especially.
yeah, it was the second quarter, I think, where he had like 5, I want to say. It was
Yeah.
really brutal there. He did have some bad ones to open the third, but yeah, look, it's a problem. It's a problem for sure. I think you're right to call out like just the type of defenders Houston have. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not exactly sure, but I'm pretty certain they're a top 3 defense in the NBA. And you can see that, like, they are so good at just generating turnovers. Like, they just got
Yeah.
hands everywhere, athleticism. Like, Tari Eason and Amen Thompson are ridiculous. And then, like you said, they've got Dylan Brooks as well, who's like a good defender. Even Fred Van Vliet, like, he's good at getting
Yeah.
steals. Like, they just got guys everywhere. So, I mean, 10 turnovers is, if we're being honest, it's really bad. But, like, they end up winning by double digits. And I think what was so important was the 19 points were awesome in the third, but after the whole team was bad in the second, he
Mhm.
came out and like that quarter won them the game. Like
It did. It
the
did.
bench.
Yes.
So, like I'm not gonna get on him too much. Needs to sort the turnovers, but man, how good was it? Like did you notice this as well? Like every bucket Cade made in that third, at least for the first few, Jaylen Green would come back down the other end and take a horrible shot.
That was a hilarious point. Like Jalen Green was so good the past week. He was like named, I believe he was named the player of the week. He was scoring like
Yes.
32 points per game on like 50% from three and everything. He was really good. But against Cade, like whenever Cade scores a bucket, he goes like, all right, I gotta get back at
Yeah.
him. So he just goes at anyone, just makes a step back three, contested step back three. And he's just, I don't know. I can see that he really has this vendetta against Cade, that he really wants to prove himself against Cade. It's like a
No,
little brother psychology thing, you know?
I think you've put it perfectly. And no, like I'm past the days of like bashing Jalen Green. I think it was just so obvious tonight that like he was taking it way too personally and it hurt his team. Like, because as
Mhm.
Cade's piling on those buckets that the Pistons lead, so I'm pretty sure it was tied at halftime, and then Cade
Yeah, it
pretty
was.
much. Yeah, I mean the Pistons closed the quarter with a 10-point lead and never looked back really. But the next player I want to talk about, Tom, is Jaylen Duren.
Oh
Um,
yes.
Monster tonight. Completely outplayed Şengün. I'll just quickly rattle off some stats and I'll let you talk about him. But Jaylen Duren tonight, 16 points, 8 of 8 from the field, 14 boards, 6 offensive, 3 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks, team
My
high
God.
plus 16 when he's on the court compared to Şengün, who was 11 points, 8 boards on 35% shooting. Like, where does this rank for you in terms of Jalen Duren games this season?
Now, I believe it's the best. I think it is the point. It is the argument to be the best game of his career because I watched most of his games. I think in his career, and the way he asserted himself, especially in the first quarter, like he reminded me offensively, about of Hakeem. Like his footwork against Şengün, he had this one move in the post. He like bumped him and made a spin move and did some like dream shake and a fade away. And that was I was like, whoa, whoa. And defensively, he was like dominating Şengün. He was really quick on help everywhere, and especially later he blocked a three by Brad, I think, which was crucial in the fourth quarter. He was really good defensively. He was like not. I'm not trying to piss off Pistons fans, but he kind of reminded me of Ben Wallace at some points of the game. He was that good in this game. I was really
he re-
impressed.
no, you're spot on. And I don't think anything you said's crazy there. Like he, I think like Şengün. I was a bit worried about that matchup, but he
Mhm.
just overwhelmed Şengün with his physicality, his rebounding. Like Şengün couldn't get anything going. It was, Şengün's been like he'll be their all-star, I feel like, for the Rockets. So, I
Mhm.
mean, I agree with you. This might be the best game of his career, considering like the Pistons now. Like he's definitely had bigger stat lines, but the Pistons have
Yep.
never been this good. And just want to really reiterate, Houston are the number 2 seed in the West. Like,
Oh,
and have
stack
one of the
West.
best. Like, and like I know they don't necessarily have that number one star player, um, but like they are a really good team. And for him to have this kind of game against a team of that caliber, I think you're
Mhm.
right in saying it probably is the best game of his career
Yeah, it was
for sure.
crazy. And the reach that he was making and the defensive hustle, he was really on point and if every coverages. It was just amazing. I think obviously Cade's the MVP of this game, but if you had to choose another one, it has to be Jaylen Duren. He was another big part of it was his the six offensive rebounds that you mentioned. He was every misses like Cade or someone else had, he was just putting back everything. He was dominant. He wasn't, and those putbacks also like prevent the Houston Rockets from going on a fast break. It ends the position right there. So it was huge. Like Jalen Duren, best game of his career so far for me. As you mentioned, he had like bigger stat lines before, like especially in his last season, he had like 20 games and stuff. But this game was just impressive for me.
I agree. I agree. The other
Yeah.
player I just want to quickly. Oh, you go. You go.
No, 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 no.
Are you sure? I was just going to quickly. I wanted to
Mhm.
highlight Marcus Sasser early in that fourth quarter.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was looking shaky there with Cade off the floor. The Rockets, I think Jalen Green got it back to 5 points with a 5-0 run of his own. And then Marcus Sasser comes down, makes a tough floater
Floater.
over
Yeah.
Amen Thompson. I don't know how
Man
he
was
got that shot
pissed.
off.
Man
Yeah.
was pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know how he got that shot off to start with, and then it actually went in.
Mhm.
But it was a like huge bucket, 7 point game. Then comes back down three in transition, back up by 10. And Cade at that stage, Cade was at the bench ready to check back in, and it was just a huge 30 seconds from Marcus Sasser to just keep that lead and give the Pistons some breathing room to work with in the last 6 minutes.
Yeah, that was really impressive. Like in the second quarter when Cade was resting, it was really shaky. Like with Cade outside the floor, I think who tweeted this. Pistons really don't have much rim pressure because
Yeah.
it's like everyone's like shooters, Simone especially like someone had a really bad game, but that's a different topic. But uh, so I was really worried about the non-Cade minutes, especially in the start of the fourth. But as you mentioned, like he was crazy, and that's transition three. When he shot it, I was like, "What? Yeah, and I shot."
Yeah.
I thought that was a bad shot, but it went in. That was really good, and I was really happy for it. But I still believe, yeah, I still believe we need a backup point guard. I love Sass, but for us to really like get over, um, like to be a really threat in the playoffs and everything, I think we need a capable backup point guard. Yeah.
I agree. No, I'm still very much even with the win over the Rockets. I thought it almost came from like Cade's sort of huge third quarter and some other things, but I thought they were really good defensively. But yeah, I'm still with you. They need more ball handling and just someone who can get into the paint a little bit. Like Koo's spot on there about the rim pressure. Like when Cade's not on the court, like I don't think these guys get paint touches. Like they might find Stu every now and then, but it's really hard for them to get into the paint, and it just results in a lot of passes around the perimeter, kind of going nowhere.
Yeah.
Um, and that was kind of, I mean, I'll be honest, like Simone was, Simone was he was bad
Uh,
tonight. But I tell you, a player I was a little bit disappointed in was Tobias Harris. I
ah.
thought in those non-Cade minutes, like that's actually the time I want him to post up, like because they can't get these paint touches. It's which are
Mhm.
like so, and he got one. He had Aaron Holiday on him a fair bit off switches, and he posted up once and came up short. I just thought that's a time like Marcus Sasser came through and got some big buckets, but that's when you really need to bias, and he just
Yeah, I
mm,
agree. I think he had
tough.
4 points tonight. I believe four
Yes,
points.
4 points.
I mean, I think he did take around 9 shots, but I think that shot attempt has to be around 15 at least in the average. He has to be more aggressive, but I don't know. Like I kind of got used to some Tobias being like cold for stretches.
Yeah.
But as long as but he does the little things on the court, like him being on the court itself, it really opens up the defense. Like he's a four and he brings out their um power forward out, stretches out the defense. So him just being out there really helps. But sometimes I do believe he needs to be more aggressive on the court. I really agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think like it's tough as well, like because he had those same defenders that Cade had. Like he either had one of a man Tari or Bill and Brooks on him,
Mhm.
who like you know, for a guy like Tobias who's lost, like he just doesn't have that burst. Not that he was ever super athletic at all, but he's kind of a bit older, so it's harder for him to get by guys. But I don't know if the
Uncle
coaching
T.
staff needs to do like a little bit better job when Cade's off the floor, trying to get him involved. Not putting a heap of blame on them, but yeah. Do you have any thoughts on Fontecchio, or do you want to keep it positive? The floor is yours, Tom.
Nah, I'm sure everyone else will have something to say about tech. But
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to talk about was man versus Sar. It was it
Yes.
was it was entertaining. Like the first possession of the game. I know that was not the first possession. The first bucket of the game was Asar driving and a man goaltended that shot. And from then on, it was like, wow. But watching a men, it's really so much fun to watch him play. So good. Like I think
Yeah.
right now it's not a stretch saying he's the best player in the Rockets. Like he's up there with Şengün for me. He's already surpassed Jalen Green, I think. He's so good defensively and offensively that it's just a joy to watch him.
Oh, he's immense. I think like if you're looking at the Rockets team, like
Mhm.
in terms of untouchable players, like he's number one. He's
Yes.
so good. Like, and I think like Asar was solid tonight. I think he was forcing it a little bit in the first half, but I like the way he reined it in the second half and was made some plays. But Amen, just the way he can get up and finish, and just the way he makes plays defensively, like
Yeah,
he's super special, and I enjoyed watching both of them. But like just
exactly.
a man tonight, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, like in
You know,
40 minutes. Like,
I
yeah, he's
think
tough.
it's great. Hey, the rebounds that he takes and the defensive plays that he makes is like what? It's like watching
Yeah.
Asar, but in a more frequent basis.
Yeah, that's a
And
great way to put it.
yeah, and he's a more slithery version of Asar. He's
Yeah.
very, yeah, he's very slithery. He knows like I think he's a bit better than Asar in getting to his spots and a slightly better touch at the rim for now. Because I think
Yeah.
the time away for Asar, it has been tough for him, but men's just a joy to watch. I think they're men, Tari and Fred. I think they had the combined 15 steals or more. That was
Mm.
crazy. I think it's around 16 steals. It's like, my
Oh, you're
God.
right. You're
Right?
right. They had
Right?
18 steals tonight. It
Oh
felt like that
my,
actually, but
the three
eight.
of them, right?
Oh no, no.
I
Yes,
thought
they had
that was
18 steals. So
that's
three from
crazy.
a man, six from Fred VanVleet, five from Tari Eason.
Oh wait, that's 14. Wow. That's I don't know.
It's
That
crazy.
their defense, I think that's the goal for us. The Ron Holland, Asar, that wing roster. I think we have a great chance to even be better. Because I think um Ron has a higher offensive ceiling than Tyree or Dylan Brooks, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
The
think, and
Ron,
I think,
yeah,
yeah, I think you're so
the Ron,
right. That's like the
yeah,
vision.
the Ron Holland three lights up. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
hilarious.
he did like Ron's three, like as long as he's wide open, like I think now they're going in more often
Yeah,
than not.
yeah, I'm
Like
with you. Look, I'm with you.
I'm so happy with him taking corner threes. Like I doesn't matter the game situation, like far away. Like he's so good at like
Yeah.
sorry, he's not so good at them, he's improved so much.
There was a point he took like a very far three from the top of the key. I think he was like three steps behind the line. He just took it. He missed, but I thought he was going in. I was like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was sad it didn't go in, but it was crazy.
I
Yeah.
love it, Tom. Well, look, we've got a few other people lined up, man. But any final thoughts? Anything you want to say before you jump off, my man? So I appreciate you making the time.
Oh. Yes, thank you. I wanted to say thank you for making that short video. That was I kind of felt I was finally getting recognized for, I don't know, that sense of, Pistons fans will relate. Like, we've been supporting this franchise for such a long time, and finally we have a good team. That sense of getting recognized and by everyone, like, it was special. Thank you so much, Jack. And I think it was also cool looking at the comments, seeing fans from around the world, like around the world. It was really amazing. So I really wish you keep that content up. It was a very unique and special content that I would love to follow. That was crazy.
Oh, of course, Tom, and you deserve it, man. Like, yeah, absolutely, you deserve it. I'm so glad you were the first one I've made. I have another one in the works for another fan, but I don't want to spill too much of it. But yeah, so there's so many fans around the world, Pistons fans, that have reached out to me, and I know you've connected with over on Twitter. And but like you said, I don't know if I kept put this part in the video, but like where a lot of us global fans are from, you don't see Pistons jerseys in the streets or Pistons hats. So I feel like at least what I'm trying to do with this channel and those videos is just bring Pistons people together from around the world, because there's so many of us. We just haven't had a team to really cheer for, but we certainly have one now. So you deserve that video, man. That's the least I can do. And I'm
Thank you.
glad you liked it, bro.
I appreciate it
Because we
so
love having
much.
you as a Pistons fan. Everyone in the chat, whenever you're on here, it's everyone shows love to you, man. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
All right.
And yeah, can't wait to have you back on the stream, my
All
friend.
right. All right. Thank you for having me up here. Bye,
All
everyone.
right.
Thank you.
See you, Tom. Can we get a Detroit basketball?
Detroit basketball.
Let's go, man. All right. You enjoy your day, and we'll talk
All
soon.
right. Bye, Jack.
Catch
Bye,
up.
everyone.
What a legend Tom is. I'm just going to drop a link to the next person jumping up today. We've got John coming up from Switzerland. Just dropped him a link. We're going to quickly check some comments. Uh, Thank you to everyone for tuning in. I know this game's a crazy time. Is it for me? It started at 6 a.m. here in Australia. I believe it was 2 p.m. on the East Coast. So, yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Is MLK Day, is that a national like kind of holiday for you guys? Like, do a lot of people have the day off work? Not sure if you do or not, but appreciate everyone in here joining the stream. We've got a heap of people in here. And Pistons next, I like this. Shout out to Houston's broadcast for actually being fair to Detroit the whole game. Very rare, but at some point they were glazing Cade in the third. I agree, Pistons next. I don't know why, but when I put my league pass on, it was automatically on the Rockets. It's normally always on the Pistons for me, but I thought, I'll just watch it with the Rockets. And I really enjoyed that broadcast. So I agree with you, Pistons next. It was actually a really nice listen. Like, I left it on the whole game. Helped the Pistons were winning, but still, yeah, good call from you, man. What else we got here? Oh, we got John. We're going to bring up John now. John,
Yo, what's good?
let's
What's good?
go.
Yeah,
How good was that, man?
man, I didn't believe. I was here on Saturday. I said, I'm not quite sure about the Rockets game. I was proven wrong. I didn't believe. I should have believed. You know,
Well,
great win.
great win. Look, I'll be honest, man. I'm after the way that, because they lost two in a row, part of me felt like maybe they'll sneak out a shock win today, because they've done that a few times this season. But
Yeah, yeah,
I was like you though, if you were like put money on this, I would have put money on Houston, especially because it was a weird starting game in Houston. I just thought, oh, maybe they'll be a bit out of whack, but they were awesome for the most part, apart from the second quarter.
yeah. No, they were awesome. The second quarter, you know, Cade had a stinker in the second quarter. He looked completely gassed. I felt like the whole team just looked gassed in the second quarter. No one really managed to do anything. But then we pulled it back in the third. We got back in, and really just great win all around.
No, like awesome game. And What were your thoughts on Ron Holland's three that shot the lights out?
Yo, lights out free-point shooter. I don't know what to tell you. No one does it like him. Tell me of another
Oh,
guy that literally shot the lights out.
the timing on that was crazy. It like went through 2 seconds and then the lights just go out.
Yeah.
But any other thoughts on Ron tonight? He didn't play a major role, but I know he's your guy, so I always like to hear
Yeah,
your thoughts on him.
I was kind of scared, because he went out with like some type of injury in the first still, I think, and then he only came back in like late in the third. So I was scared if there was something going on, but he looked fine at the end. He caught that crazy pass from Asar and somehow managed to keep it in bounds. Yeah, that's about it. He didn't really do a whole lot in this game.
Yeah. Oh, and then we briefly spoke about it before, but like corner threes for him, as long as he's open, like I'm all in on his jumper, like on wide open threes.
Man, I'm all in on any Ron Holland shot. If it's up to me, he'll take Trae Young half court shots. I don't mind it. I'll believe in him.
No, I believe in him too. I'm just so like it's so good to see his jumper come around, even if it's
Yeah.
on low volume. Like, it's been huge for him. But I'll leave the floor to you. Who do you want to talk about first? Thought there was two really good players, but yeah.
I want to talk about Jaylen Duren. That man played a really, really, really great game. He completely dominated Houston. He pushed Şengün somewhere. I don't know. Şengün didn't do anything the whole game. It felt like he didn't play. Which, that man is probably going to be an all-star. And Duren just locked him up, which I don't know how much we got to say that Duren locked up an all-star center this year. That's great to see the defensive end come in. And also, he played really well on offense. He got those 6 offensive rebounds, I think. He went perfect from the field. 8 for 8, I believe. Yo, he was just great today.
No, and I love how you point out like the fact he did this against an all-star big. Like, I think that's the key point that we haven't spoken about yet. And because normally JD, like, he'll put up these big games, but they're normally against lesser opponent. But against, and like you said, the Rockets' best player this season, JD comes out and, like, as Tom said just earlier, like, that might have been Jaylen Duren's best game of his career. Like,
Yeah.
seriously. And he did it against an all-star caliber player. So great point from you.
Yeah, if he can manage to keep that intensity, the defensive intensity, I feel like, it just really takes him to another level, and it really raises his ceiling by an insane amount, because we all know he's a great offensive center. He at least has the tools to be a really great offensive center. And with the defense, if he uses, he's so gifted athletically. He's a real unit. And if he uses that on defense, he could become a really good defender, together paired with a really good offensive game. That's such a high ceiling.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why I feel like fans, even like myself, like I'm constantly so torn on JD because like when you see the game tonight, like it's just like, man, he's got so many tools to work with that are like really, really almost special for a guy his size and strength. So no, he was awesome. And just want to quickly shout out Derek. Thanks for having this platform, Jack. I love this, man. Go Pistons. And Derek, you need to get up here one day, my man. You've been saying it for a little bit, but I appreciate the love, man. I'm glad you enjoy it. But John, can you I just want to, for people who might be tuning in for the first time, you've explained it the first time you came on, but can you just explain where you're from, how you watch these games, and when you started supporting the team? Because I just find it fascinating, and I think it's something people should know about you.
Yeah, so I'm from Switzerland. I started getting into the NBA in like 2023. the late 2023 season and really the off season. And then I picked the team for the 23-24 season. I picked the Pistons. So it's a rough start. Worst season in franchise history as my first season, but it can only go up from there. So, I watch these games. They're usually in the middle of the night. So 7 p.m. Detroit is 1 a.m. So if I watch the games, I'm usually up until like 3 or 4. But I love the Pistons. I love watching the game. So it's a lot of fun to me at least. Yeah.
If that's not loyalty, Pistons fans, I don't know what is. 1 a.m. This man, yes, you might have only been a fan for a minute, but to sit through the 14-win season, getting up, watching games at 1 a.m., and then to come back for more. Honestly, a lot of people would probably just be like, man, I'm just going to choose another team. Like, I don't even have that much history. But you've sat through, and it's, I know it's been a quick turnaround since you've been a fan, but I wouldn't have blamed anyone last season for changing teams. So I think it's so cool that you've stuck with the team, because last season was really tough, and it's so good to have you up here now talking about some wins. But can I ask you we spoke about Jaylen Duren. Any thoughts on Cade Cunningham's game?
He turned it up in that third. He really, really turned it up in the third. 19 points in the third quarter. He didn't score in the fourth at all, but no one scored in the fourth. It was like 17-16 in the fourth quarter. No one scored. And it wasn't really needed in the fourth, but in the third it was needed. And he realized that he came out the break. He realized, I dropped a stinker in the second quarter. I need to turn it up. And then he really turned it up. And, needed for the team, and great to see your franchise player show out like that.
It was
32
awesome
against the Rockets. And that's a big game. It's against a 2 seed. You drop 32 against a 2 seed in the West. It's great.
No, it's huge. And you get a lot of love in the comments here.
Yeah, I
John
appreciate
is
it.
built different. White guy next door. I was thinking the same thing. John is built different.
Appreciate it.
He's the Ron Holland of the fan base. Keith B says, shout out to this kid. Real as you know what. So plenty of love in the comments for you, man.
Appreciate it.
I wish I knew like the actual time zones. Like I should know yours by now, but what's the time?
It's 11 p.m. So that's a great game today for me. It was 8 p.m. start. I missed a little bit. I missed like half of the first quarter because I was still eating, but I came back and I can go to sleep at a reasonable time today. So it's great for me.
I love it. Are you like the sort of guy? Well, I guess the time zone, you probably don't normally do this, but because of it being at a normal time tonight, will you watch the highlights or anything after, or do you just watch the game once and you're normally good?
It depends. Sometimes if it's a really good win, I'll watch that. If I watch the game already, I'll watch the highlights like the next day or something. But if I miss the game or something, I usually just watch highlights. But if it's a bad loss, I'll watch the game. I'm not watching any highlights. I'm deleting that out of my memory. I'm moving on.
No, I'm not the same, man. Actually, I think last season I was down so bad. If they had a close loss, I would watch the replay. That's how bad it was. But
that's really bad. We nearly managed to win.
Exactly. Any other thoughts on the game or the Pistons' upcoming schedule? I think. Who do they play next? They play in Atlanta in a couple of days, and then I think they play the Magic as well on the road. Maybe thoughts on those two games?
I feel like they're both very winnable games. At least the Hawks one, that is very, very winnable, and the Magic game is winnable too. So I feel like at least 1-1, but you should be able to go 2-0 in those two games. And
I
also,
agree,
I have one thing to say about a player. I need to talk about Simone Fontecchio. Do not ever drive to the basket ever again. I beg you. Just shoot the basketball. I don't like it when he drives. My whole body freezes up. It's bad for me. It's bad for my heart. He just needs to
Man.
shoot. I'm happy. Don't ever get inside the 3-point arc. You're banned.
Well said. I swear. Well said. Yeah, poor Simone. I don't want to just bash him because at the end of the day, he's a role player. But I think what
Yeah.
you said there is a perfect way to kind of critique his game. Like, please just shoot the contested three. I'd rather him go 0 of
Yeah.
6 on threes than try and force it inside because
Yeah, definitely.
it's just not working. It's just not. It's
If
either a turnover or a really tough miss, and it's just shoot
if
the
he
three.
misses those threes, I'm not mad at all. Because that's what his role is. He's a role player, that's his role, to shoot those threes. If he goes over 8, I'm not happy, but I'm not sad about it because that's what he does. But if he goes over 8 on layups, I'm mad because you're a shooter. Please just shoot the ball. But I like Simone. I don't wanna go on here and just hate on him the whole time. He was one of the few bright spots last season, so I still like him.
No, I'm with you. Like he's been bad this season. Like I
Yeah.
think for what we all expected, I was very high on him.
Yeah.
I'll still stand by the fact I had him as a starter before the season started,
Yeah, I
but
did too.
like I don't think I was insane then, but that kind of looks really silly now from me. But yeah, I don't want to hate on him too much, but just shoot the threes. I think you said it perfectly, man. Just no dribble drives.
Don't dribble the
But
basketball.
any other thoughts, my brother? Floor is yours.
I need to look at the box score real quick. Yeah, the offensive rebounding today. The rebounding today in general was great. I feel like that was kind of a weak point in the recent games, especially. I know this is especially in the loss to the Suns with all those long rebounds. And today I think we had more offensive rebounds than the Rockets.
I feel
Yeah.
like we did.
Oh no, we had two less. We had 13. They had 15. But they are the best offensive rebounding team in the league, and we didn't get completely killed on the glass, which that's great because it feels like we get completely killed by those long rebounds a lot recently, but we had a few of those where I felt someone of the wings has to just step in. But overall, I'm really happy with the rebounding performance today.
No, I think you're right. And like the Rockets, I feel like you're right. I think they must lead the league in offensive rebounds or something.
Yeah,
They'd be at the
they were
top
talking
because
about something like that on the broadcast, I think.
they just fly in from everywhere with all their athletes. So like I
Yeah.
think that's a great point that the Pistons were able to not get absolutely killed on the glass because their offensive rebounds have sometimes hurt the Pistons. It helps that the Rockets aren't the best shooting team either. I was
Yeah.
very comfortable with them jacking all those threes, even if they made some tough ones. But no, that's a great point. I thought defensively as well, the Pistons were really, really solid.
Great today.
But yeah, man. Any
Yeah,
final words before I let you go to
um
bed?
nah, that's really it. I got my Simone take off. I got basically everything off I wanted to say.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for jumping on as always. And I'm sure we'll get you back maybe later in the week when it's close to the weekend. But you're welcome anytime. So thanks
Yeah.
for jumping on.
All right.
All right. Catch you,
And
man.
see ya.
What's up, my
Cody,
dude?
long time no chat. What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. It's been a good few last sports days for me. So I'm vibing.
Why would that be?
Well, Sunday morning, Michigan State beat Illinois, big time, top 25 matchup, and then we all know what happened Saturday night.
Oh, I'm not saying a word. I made one tweet and I regretted it and deleted it straight away. So
Well,
I feel sorry for everyone that's a Lions fan, but
hopefully no more Jared Goff chance.
Yeah, no comment from me. I'm steering
Yeah,
clear.
you gotta stay on one side. I have no problem dipping my toe in the other side of the water a little bit.
Oh man, I had a tweet up for 10 minutes and I've never gotten roasted so much. I just had to delete it. I was like, I can't take this negative energy. It's killing me. I look, I worded it probably wrong, but yeah. Anyway, I'm with you. I just hope we don't hear the chants anymore. But that's all I'm saying. But I thought you were going to go there.
That's what I said. Yeah, hopefully the Jared Goff chants are in the LCA are done. 'Cause I'm sick of hearing them.
Well, what were you? I want to ask you this first because the last two games have been pretty rough. It felt like teams had kind of figured out how to guard Cade. And then I'll be honest, I wasn't that confident for tonight. What was your thoughts leading into this game?
I mean, I thought that obviously the lack of a secondary creator was starting to catch up to them. And I still think it is. You still see in the non-Cade minutes when Sasser goes out there and he's not looking to score, it's really tough. That second quarter, he just went on that 15-0 run. No one could create anything. It gets really tough when you have Cade out there. Still need that person, but like I saw so much. Like it's really weird because like I don't know. Twitter is just like I've just gotten to the point with Twitter where it's just like I know it's the home for negativity. Like nobody on Twitter wants to be positive because negativity does so much better with numbers. Like it's just like that's what it is. The algorithm favors negativity for some reason. Like that app is a breeding ground for negativity. And I saw after we lost to the Suns. Oh, here we go. Pistons they're gonna free fall. Look at the upcoming stretch. Like they're not gonna win anymore. Like here they go, falling back to the 10 seed. Yada yada yada. Like, and they very well might still fall back to the 10 seed. The next two games are actually huge for seeding potential. Especially the Hawks lose to the Knicks today. But like this is no matter what you think of this is not the Pistons of the last 5 years. That's not the same. This is not the same team at all. I hate to break it to you. Every team in the NBA has 2-game losing streaks. Every one of them. The Celtics had a 3-game losing streak just recently. They lost a couple bad teams in that stretch, or teams that weren't nearly as good as them, so to speak. I thought the Pacers game, I didn't get to watch most of the Pacers game because it was my company's party, but the sections I did see, to your point, they just shut off the water for Cade, and that was pretty much it. I watched the full Pistons Suns game. That was just you got beat by Devin Booker and KD going absolutely insane for the last 8 minutes of the game. Like every time the Pistons got momentum, KD would come down and hit a mid-range jumper. Devin Booker would hit a mid-range jumper and ones. You got beat by a top 10 player of all time and a top 20 player in the NBA currently. Like that happens in the NBA. I mean, I thought that game was a great game. It was a great basketball game. But definitely thought they could have won, but I didn't think there was any shame in losing that game. And then coming into today, I obviously thought Houston's a much better team, but I also knew that it's personal for Cade. He hears everything. He knows that this game's personal for him. So I thought, we had a shot. And yeah, we won. So all good in my book.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I love that you just pointed out there, like this team is not the same team from the last 5 years. And it's like there's, a lot has changed even in the past off season that should remind us there's different people in the front office, different coaching staff, different roster. But like now that we've actually seen the product for what was this game 43, maybe like they are so different to anything else we've seen in the past 5 years. So, and yeah, teams do lose 2 games in a row. I think we've just all gotten used to the winning. But no, you went through those games beautifully. I think as well in that Pacers game, last thing I'll say is like Indiana, are one of the hottest teams in the NBA as well right now. They might be sitting 6th or 7th, but they've been better than that recently.
No, they're on an extreme heater right now.
Yeah, like they're not the same Pacers team that the Pistons beat in November in the Cup. Like they're way different. So
no, we get to see them again very soon. So
no, they're all good points there. Thoughts on Cade's game?
Yeah, I mean it's tough because Houston is so good defensively. But the turnovers really bothered me today.
Yeah.
Especially there was 2 in a row in the second quarter where Houston was on that run, and like that's when you need Cade to settle down and get a bucket. And he had 2 straight turnovers on back-to-back possessions. You can't. Not with a team like Houston that's so deep that just needs the smallest opening, 4-minute stretch to get back into games. They're never going to quit. They're gritty. Like that's when you need Cade to settle in. Obviously, his third quarter was insane. He took over the game completely, and it really wasn't the same after that. After that stretch he had, he just went nuclear again. And like obviously, we've seen that. We've seen a lot of third quarters out of Cade in the last 2 months where he just goes absolutely insane. I don't know what he does to get going in the locker room when he's not playing the best, but yeah, man. I mean, he played great in that third quarter, and then kind of stayed steady for the rest of the game and won. But I mean, the turnovers were a bit too much for me today. 10 turnovers is not acceptable. By any one player, I don't care who it is. You cannot have 10 turnovers in a game. That's way too many.
No, and I agree. I think the ones you've always been big on, like the types of turnovers, and that was like with that amount tonight, there's not even that excuse. But it's like I think even to open the third, he had a pair of bad ones back to back, all close, where he threw it at Asar's feet when he was rolling, and then kind of just forced a pass to JD in transition. But obviously, he had a huge third quarter. But I think like those back-to-back ones or ones where they're like within 3 possessions when the other team are on the run, those are like you said, the ones that you're like, man, like
yeah, it's the live ball ones. Like you don't get to reset your defense, and you're playing against the second best transition offense in all of the NBA. I mean, they highlighted that a bunch of times on the broadcast today that the Pistons and Rockets are both top 5 transition offenses. And obviously, that was a big part of how the Pistons won, because they also forced their fair share of turnovers, and they got out and got a lot of easy buckets. But like most nights, when Cade turns it over 10 times, they're not winning. So, like in my mind, today was a bit of an anomaly, and I think he offset that with the nuclear third quarter. But that can't happen too many times, and you're gonna win. It's just not a recipe for the success for the Pistons.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think I still think you would say it was a good game because from him, not one you want to see again, but because of the huge third quarter when they really needed that from him, even if he dug that hole a little bit himself in the first half. But yeah, I want to ask you about Jaylen Duren. Spoken about this man plenty of times with
he was
you.
great today, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
and he's had a lot more games where I've really liked his effort lately. Maybe he's turning a corner. I'm going to continue to reserve judgment until it's a larger sample size. And obviously, I'm not sure. I think it was the Phoenix game recently where he picked up a bunch of fouls really, really fast. It's still a huge struggle of his. But it seems like the effort is rising. At least it's more consistent for sure. Yeah, he was great today, rebounding insanely well. Actually defended Sengun pretty darn well. Kept him off the glass, which is impressive. And then just those hustle plays, those putback dunks, those putback layups. He even had that little dream shake turnaround jumper, which was kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, Duren played, I'd say, if you're talking just purely like who was the best Piston today, Duren's got a strong, he's a strong candidate because he took Sengun pretty much out of the game, him and Stu, and I don't think he missed a shot. He was
8 of 8.
Exactly. Didn't miss a shot. He was efficient. Didn't turn overtime. I know he had a couple, but yeah, I mean, he played really well, and like you probably still give it to Cade because of that third quarter, but if it's not Cade, it's him for sure.
Oh, definitely. No, I think as well, like to have a game like that against a quality center, I think that's not something we've seen a lot from JD either. I feel like his better games have come against, quite honestly, not the best centers in the NBA. So to have one against Sengun, who, I know he's gotten better defensively, but is really good offensively and skilled, a guy who I would feel like could take advantage of JD. I think for him to play the way he did, you're right. Like Cade's going to get the player of the game because of that third quarter, but JD's right there. especially early on with the energy in that first quarter.
The nice thing about Sengun is he doesn't have the ability to stretch the floor.
Yeah.
We all know that JD can't guard stretch bigs, but if it's bigs that are primarily in the post, he does a lot better because the area to operate just shrinks. The spacing down there is so much tighter. He doesn't have to move as much laterally, so it really helps his game. Obviously, stretch bigs still continue to give him work, but we know that. And that's why I think it would be nice. I think it would be nice if JB did do a little bit more experimenting with matchups like he's been doing in other situations. Since Ivy's been out, they've kind of worked the starting lineup a little bit. It's mostly been Azar though, but it worked it a little bit. I'd like to see if it's like, hey, we're playing like coming up, we got Jokic, like maybe Stu starts out there on Jokic just because Jokic can stretch the floor and does a lot more at the top of the key with the ball in his hands versus JD. But I think JD's going to stay in the starting lineup. I think that's been pretty apparent.
Yeah, no, JB has stuck with his starters no matter what. Like even when it's probably been a bit of a struggle for them. But can I ask you about Asar Thompson's game? What did you see from him tonight?
He's aggressive. He's aggressive downhill. And he's starting to get more comfortable for sure. And he's still causing havoc defensively. I liked how they used him on offense today. He was the screener a lot for Cade. And I like that because if you get Asar in a short roll, he can make the extra pass, whether it's kick out to the corner or down low to Duren, pretty easily. So I like the way they're using him and not just sticking him in a corner. There were some possessions still where he, went out in the corner. I know he caught one on the left hand corner and shot a three. It didn't go in, but yeah, I mean, I thought he played really well in his minutes, and I think that like Amen didn't like overshine him completely. I mean, I think everybody can admit Amen's a better player as of right now, and probably will be long term. But that doesn't mean Asar can't still be special. Amen's an alien, so if you have the twin alien who's slightly worse, that's fine. But I think he's getting more comfortable. Obviously, he's getting more comfortable. Yeah. I just don't know if he'll ever be able to get in and out of spots like Amen can and contort his body and finish. Amen has a special way of using his body when he's getting to the rim that I don't think Asar's figured out yet. I don't know. It's very hard to do. It's not easy. You have to have insane balance and agility and being able to go off 1 foot. Like that, all that stuff is top 1 percentile athlete in the entire world to do that stuff. But because you can see when Amen's playing, he can't shoot. Amen can't shoot either. Like there's no shooting from either of the twins. They are not. You see it when Amen had to hoist at the end of those shot clocks. He was not comfortable at all. They were bad misses. Like that is not what he wants to do. I actually think Asar's probably to me, he's a little bit further along in the shooting department than Amen, but Amen's just so much better at getting to the rim and I think as Tom put it earlier, he's slithery, snake-like. Where Asar's kind of like if the lane's not right there for him, it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there. Like that's the one thing I've really noticed with Asar, and maybe I wasn't aware of it last year, but even if it was just like Fred VanVleet in front of him, like he just struggles to kind of finish around anyone in front of him, which I didn't expect for someone of his athleticism. But I think that goes back to your point about Amen just being able to contort his body and finish around people or over them, whereas I just feel that's lacking in Asar's game. And yeah, I think some of it as well is Amen. He was always touted as like the better ball handler as well, like and playmaker, and like you see that in the half court. But Asar, like you said, even if you have 85 to 90% of what Amen is, that's still a really, really good player.
Yeah, and let's be clear about it. Like Amen's played, I don't know, 30 more games than Asar at this point. because I don't know how many games Asar missed at the beginning of this. I know he missed like 17 to 19 at the end of last year and a similar amount this year. And Men's never really had an availability issue. I know he had maybe a stretch last year where his ankle was bothering him for a couple of weeks, but I mean, Men's further end of his development because he had more time to, go full. And that's not even counting the summer when a lot of these guys that are young get way better in like open gyms and stuff where you're playing with fellow pros and just work on your craft. I mean, Asar wasn't able to do that either. So, I mean, there's a reason why Men's further ahead of his development, and he had a bit of a head start anyway. So, there's a reason why, but I'm not selling any stock in Asar. I think we're talking full 3-year Asar, when he hits that full, 200, we'll call it 200 games because the way NBA players miss games. I think he'll be a completely different player than he is today.
Yeah, no, it's a great point as well. Him not being able to play 5-on-5 at all for that whole summer definitely limits what you can do. Got a few more minutes here, Cody. I'm going to turn it to you. Any other things you want to talk about? Any players, upcoming games, that kind of thing?
I mean, I could bag on Fontecchio if I wanted to, but I'll keep it positive. I don't know what he's doing lately. I hope he goes back to the Fontecchio we saw on the West Coast road trip. We need that Fontecchio back because we desperately need his shooting when they go to that lineup where it's Tobias, him, Beasley, Sasser, and a big, or God forbid replace they had the lineup out there without Beasley and with Ron in there. It's where are you getting scoring from that lineup if Fontecchio can't hit a wide open jumper? That just makes it really tough. But yeah, I mean, these next 2 games are key. You look at the standings. I'm not sure, Jack, if you can give me a quick check on the Knicks-Hawks score right now. I know the Knicks were winning by 2 when I had to turn it off to come on here. It was 96-94 when I had to turn it off.
It's Knicks are up by 9 with 2 minutes left.
Okay, so the Knicks win, so that means the Hawks are tied with us in the win column, and they are 1 loss ahead of us. So essentially, if the Pistons win these next 2 games against the Hawks and Magic, they could jump up all the way to the 7th spot, if I'm correct. Maybe even the 6th spot. I'm not sure because the Bucks are in 4th now, Pacers in 5th. I'm correct.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. So, the Hawks are going to go to 22-20, and then the Pistons, if they defeat the Hawks, would go to 23-21, and they would go above.
They would jump the Hawks
because they'd have the tiebreaker.
They would be tied with Magic with the win. I don't know what the Magic schedule looks like this week. But then all of a sudden that game on Saturday, you're talking about potentially jumping all the way up into the 6th seed. 6th. Yeah, 6th seed.
I think if they beat Atlanta, they would go to the 6th. Oh no, you're right. If the Magic have a game between now and then and they win, they'll.
They will have it. The Magic will have a game in between then and now. I don't know who they play, but the Magic are in free fall.
What's going on there? Have you been watching much of it?
It's been kind of weird. Trying for them to try to integrate Paolo back into the team. I just don't. I don't know. I've only caught 1 game. I can't even remember who they played. It was a loss, but they didn't play particularly well. And I don't know if Paolo's all the way back. I mean, he looked fine, but it's tough to tell because these guys are all super athletes. And when you don't watch, I don't watch Paolo every night. He looked fine to me, but they're just not scoring offensively. And their defense has taken a bit of a step back, weirdly. They're still not – they're still really good defensively, but it's not the way they were at the beginning of the season when they were suffocating people like the Thunder do every night. I just think they're just in a slump, really, all around. It's not just one guy or the team's just in a weird funk. I mean, they've only won 3 games in the last 10. They are very much right now in free fall. And obviously they have a ton of time to figure it out and put it back together. And I don't know the timetable on Franz being back. But he'll be a huge lift when he comes back. But yeah, I mean, there's a chance for the Pistons now. I think the East is really starting to separate itself. With I think the Bucks are starting to put it in motion that they're. I think right now the highest the Pistons could really get is the 5 spot if they played unbelievable basketball on the stretch. Because I really think Indiana's turning a corner, and I'm finding it very hard to believe that the Magic are going to stay like this.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just look at it now though, and you just keep looking at how the Pistons are making the playoffs, the play-in. They're making the play-in.
Yeah.
They're pretty much guaranteed.
Well, you're right. When you look at the standings, the Bulls now are the Pistons still sit in 9th, but the Bulls at 10 are 4 games behind the Pistons. So like you're right. They're not
4
falling
games
lower
behind
than
right now, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And they're still going to try to like get worse at the deadline. The 76ers had that brief 8-game stretch where they were 5-3 or 6-2, and they've completely fallen back off the wagon.
They've lost 6 in a row.
Yeah, so you've got
wow.
they're what, like 15-25 or something? They're like
Yeah.
they're
15-26. Yeah.
So it's like how I guess buckle up for a playing game this year.
Well, can I ask you then? This is where I want to finish it off because you brought up so considering now we've pretty much said the Pistons, I would be shocked if they fall below 9. So considering now they are going to be a playing team or close to it, like what do you think the move is? Because you spoke about the ball handling. I'm with you on that for sure. Is there a move that comes to mind, a player?
No, I tweeted the other day. I said I think they just need to get assets.
Okay.
I keep looking around the league, man, and I keep looking at these teams that obviously the Pistons are nowhere near championship contending, nowhere near. But you look at all the teams that are going to be there in the next 3 years, they all have a ton of assets.
Yeah.
How are the Pistons expected to compete with those teams with the assets they have right now? You've got to try to get assets back. And you're the only team in the league that can help facilitate, really. You're the only one with open cap space. So this is in my mind, I'm looking at this as a golden opportunity to where the Pistons could actually get real assets without having to do much. It wouldn't be the Troy Weaver, we take this guy and we get a 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
Like a real asset. Either a 1st round pick from a contender this year that, might not look good today, but it might allow the Pistons to get back in the 1st round or do something with that pick, or it's multiple seconds, like high-end seconds that could be valuable. I mean, obviously they're not going to get 3 firsts or anything crazy. They're not going to get a treasure chest, but they can get assets that actually matter. I think that's the move as long as what they're taking back is not just a dead space on the roster.
Yeah.
I think Trajan's goal should be get a player that helps now on a short-term deal and get assets and help these other teams that are going for it this year facilitate a blockbuster trade.
Yeah.
And that's you factor in to the trade deadline. The more I look at it, obviously Levine's value skyrocketed over the last few weeks. He's been playing incredible basketball. Even if the Bucks are losing, the Bulls are losing. I mean, they're trying to lose. They don't want to win. They want anything but winning. I mean, Brandon Ingram, I have not heard a peep about him for weeks about anything.
It's been so quiet.
It's been very quiet. And then, I mean, honestly, I think all the dominoes are waiting on Jimmy. Jimmy's going to be the move that starts to clear everything up. Once the Jimmy move happens and he gets moved and dealt, I think then that's where stuff opens up. But until then, I think it's going to be pretty quiet on the deadline front.
And that's probably the player that the Pistons or Trajan are looking at to be that 3rd team to help that move happen. So you're right.
Yeah, I mean I think that's the most
be that 3rd team
impactful move that can happen for the Pistons because I think they'd be involved. I mean, all the teams that have heard rumored for Jimmy Butler cannot make that trade without a 3rd team.
Exactly. So okay. I think the thing that I'm happy with is the fact that there are options. And I feel like even if you have your preferred option like yours is, and that makes so much sense, there's still a few options here the Pistons can do at the deadline that actually make sense and could be good moves if executed properly. They could go. I still don't mind them going and get someone like CJ if you don't have to give up much. I also like your option. I like them going to get some more ball handling, more shot creating. If it's not CJ McCollum, maybe Bryce Simon brought up Dante Exum. I know he's been injured, but I think there's plenty of options here, which I think are all viable options, which I don't know if we've had that in the past with this team.
Yeah, and just last thing before I go, I see
Yep.
people in the comments like saying no more picks, please. Like, I'm not saying you get these picks to use them. You get them to move them in something else. Like, look at the Thunder. They're not using all those picks. Clearly not going to use all those picks. Their roster's already loaded. They have 14 first-round picks in the next 5 years. They're not going to use them. They're going to use them to get a guy. Like, we don't even have that option because we don't have the picks to trade. They have them in bunches. Brooklyn has them in bunches now. Brooklyn can shorten their rebuild really fast. Houston has a ton of picks. Like, there's a lot of teams that are going to be in play in the next 5 years that have a ton of flexibility that we don't have. That's why I want to go that route, because you can still go that route at the trade deadline and make a move in the offseason.
No, I think what you're saying makes a heap of sense. Like, if they go that route, I'll be fine with that as well. Because say they get some assets, they actually make the playoffs, they give that pick to Minnesota, then they've got these additional picks plus all their future first back. Yeah, exactly what you said. So
yeah, I guess there's that, or there's always still the potential possibility that pick, like, they go in, it doesn't convey, and then that. Honestly, I'm at the point where I want the pick to convey because it just I'm sick of it hampering our flexibility. Like,
yeah,
because we're not going from. I mean, I saw somebody on Tankathon today had us going from 11 or 12 to 1, and they were like, "Oh, of course that would be sick if we went from 12 to 1 and got Cooper Flagg, and then the whole long-term outlook on the Eastern Conference changes at that point." But
yeah,
that's it. I'm too scarred from the lottery to even think something remotely good would ever happen to the Pistons in that form. If they jump from 12 to 4, I'd be like, that's the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah, literally. I want it gone, man. I want it gone. I'm sick of it. I'm so over it. I don't care if that's gone, that I'll be happy because I'm so sick of them not being able to make certain moves or just not being able to like put a package together.
Oh, I lost you, Jack. Uh-oh. Well, that's the show, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, I hear you, YouTube user. It's tough. It's tough when you're talking about the flexibility. The total flexibility essentially. Because we still don't have the assets, right? But in theory, if we got a little bit at the deadline and that pick conveyed, and there was a star that was under the radar necessarily, that or not, not obviously stars, tough word, but like a really good player that's on the radar, you at least have enough assets back. There he is, baby. I had to carry you for a second. I just kept talking.
Were you by yourself that whole time?
Oh yeah, I just kept talking. Yeah.
Sorry, guy. I don't know what happened there. Thank God.
No, it's all good.
Lucky Cody's here.
Yeah, we were just talking about like how even if the pick conveys or doesn't, we still don't really have a ton of flexibility because we still don't have that many assets. And then I said, well, you can find an under the radar guy that maybe because we're still gonna have likely, I don't know, top 7 in cap space this offseason or something like that. I know you've talked about it way more with Kyle. I'm not really into the cap yet at this point in the season, but we're still gonna have time. Or we're still gonna have money, I guess, not a lot, but
no, I think they can make enough. Like if it kind of depends on like what they re-sign Malik for, if they do, what they do with Tim Hardaway Jr. Like they can make. I think you're right. They can get close to like top 5 in money or free agency or salary cap, I should say. But yeah, Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to catch back up. I don't know. I'm just glad Cody's here to keep the show going.
No, that was all. That was all we talked about. That was it.
Okay, got you. Well, Cody, man, any other thoughts before I let you go? Thank you for steering the ship while I was gone.
Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I mean, it's just again, it's shaping up to be another big week for the Pistons. I mean, last week was a big week. They didn't take advantage. Can they take advantage this week? That's what I'm looking for. Is hey, last week was tough. You had a chance to beat the Pacers, and you had a chance to beat the Suns and really jump up the standings. You didn't. So now you started off 1-0. Can you go 3-0 and give yourself a cushion against being 500 and jump a few teams in the standings and you know, I guess set yourself up for success going into February.
Love it, man. Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for taking the reins there for a moment. Appreciate you as always, brother, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon still for you.
Yeah,
Must be
man.
still daylight.
I had the day off. I saw a lot of people in the chat saying they didn't have the day off today. I mean, maybe it's just different because of like what I do, but yeah, me and all my friends had the day off. We've just been texting and watching basketball, and yeah, just been a chill day.
Beautiful, man. I love it. Well, enjoy the Pistons winning. I'm sure we'll have you back up this week, brother.
Oh yeah, I'll be up for sure after one of these games.
I love it. All right, man. We'll talk soon.
We'll catch you later.
Bye.
Good talk.
Oh, did not mean to cut Cody off there. My bad. My internet has not been great. But shout out to Cody. I'm glad he was on. I didn't know what happened there. My whole stream just dropped out. I wasn't sure if the whole stream ended or what, but I'm glad Cody was here to keep talking. Gonna go through some comments here, guys. I seem to have unfortunately lost some from earlier. I wanted to go through because I left the stream, but I wanted to shout out Luke Davies. I saw you say earlier that you're from the UK and you get up also at 1 a.m. to watch the Pistons play. So would love to get you on the show, man. If you're still watching, if maybe not this stream, but if there's an upcoming game you can make work, please let me know because love to get you up here. Love to get everyone up here, but love hearing your dedication to the team and staying up so late to watch the games. That's really cool, man. So thank you for tuning in. What else we got in here, guys? Yeah, I agree. Pistons next. This is probably their best defensive game this season, given the opponent they faced. 100%. Defense was awesome. I think kind of helps the Rockets can't really shoot. I think they're last in the league in 3-point percentage, but I thought for the most part, Pistons were on point defensively. Definitely one of their best games. Ryan, Jaylen Duren has stepped up lately, and with that, we have been so much better. He's the swing for this season, and it's great to see him play like he did today. Absolutely. As Tom said earlier to open the show, that might be the best game of Jaylen Duren's career. And I think considering the team they played, I'd probably have to agree with him. It's definitely up there no matter what. What else we got in here? Got my man Nuggies tuning in. White guy next door. Here we go. Pistons next. Current favorite is either Ron or Ivy. All time might be Chauncey. Love it. Love it. I think John's the same. Ron or Ivy are his two favorites as well. Yeah, Ron's been. I think Ron has quickly become a lot of people's favorite players as well, just with the way he plays and then his attitude. He's awesome. Confidence. Love it. Yeah, Adam. I know y'all heard what Cade said after he dunked in the third. Talk that ish, Cade. Yeah, I put it's everywhere, but I did post it on Instagram. I'm not going to say what he said, but go check out the post, and it's there right for you to see. But yeah, no, I like Tom said as well earlier. Like Cade I've loved seeing his competitiveness this season. Like obviously he's competitive, like to get to this level and to be in that first overall pick, like you got to be competitive. But just seeing him like be more aggressive and talk like that, it's awesome. And yeah, guys, if you could please support the show, hit that like button, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Just helps keep the show growing, gets us more into people's feeds on YouTube and helps it grow so we can get some more Pistons fans up here and keep this community growing. So thanks, Dan, for putting that in the comments. I appreciate you, brother. There was another comment here. Oh, what's this? So Matt Way, shout out Detroit Bad Boys. Hope you're doing well, man. Can we talk about how with the new era of the Pistons officially beginning, Blaha needs to step aside so we can jack on TV? He talking about me. It's tough with George. I mean, I think for most of us, we've all had George Blaha as a play-by-play, and then for a lot of the time we've had. I know I've only had Greg Kelso the whole time, but there's a noticeable difference in energy when Johnny Kane's calling a play-by-play. It's just a fact. And like, yeah, George is a legend, but sometimes I just feel like his age is catching up to him a little bit, which is very fair. I mean, I still enjoy his calls. He has all these classic one-liners, but Johnny's energy is really good. Like that game winner Ivy hit with Johnny Kane on the call, like that was incredible. The one in Sacramento. So, yeah, it's tough because George is an absolute legend in Michigan. I know that because he does Michigan State games as well. So, fair call, Matt. YouTube user, I would love Jack over Johnny. Johnny isn't bad, but Jack's accent. I can tell you now, I would not be good at play-by-play. I can't. I don't have I feel like I can't. I wouldn't be able to capture a moment. I know you guys are joking, but I would not be good at play-by-play. I would not be good at play-by-play. I appreciate it though. What else we got in here, guys? Getting down to the bottom. YK next door. George deserves to retire after all the time and energy he's put into the teams over the years. I agree. Yeah, he gets to go out on his own. Even if like a lot of us think maybe it's time. Like, yeah, when you have a career like that, you get to call the end for yourself. So I think that's going to do it, guys. Appreciate all you tuning in. What a game. I can't wait. Like for me now, it's only 9:52 in the morning, so I'm excited. I've got my whole day ahead of me. Feeling good after a win. We'll be making that recap video to post all over social. So please support that. Support the channel. Glad we could get this win back over 500. Just good vibes all around, guys. So enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the win, and we'll be back later in the week for the Hawks game. But until then, as always, go Pistons.